Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Red Path. It is Dara and Brian, and potentially someone else here with you today because we have a very exciting announcement video for all of you. We are gaining a new member of the Red Path after, I suppose, a very successful venture with Brian joining the channel. We're decided to expand again and bring more viewpoints about the Warrior Leaders to all of you good people. Brian, how are you doing today? How are you feeling about all this?
I'm doing good, Dara. I'm excited to have just kind of a new member of the family running around, helping around. I think a lot of good things are going to be coming in the future because of it. Um, I'm really excited for the future of the channel, and honestly, I couldn't have picked a better one. So
Yeah, I think we've been talking about this for a little while, and some of you have been hanging out in the Discord may know this new member as they're quite prolific inside there, and they have a very good track record of tournament runs and success and high-end competitive world leader play. So that's awesome to have another brilliant, inventive player coming in and bringing a new level of competitive insight onto the channel. And what it also means, for those of you who are more interested in the hobby, which is quite a lot of people here, that I'll be able to kind of pivot back more into providing hobby content, which is something I've talked about doing after No Retreat. And I'm working on a whole range of new mini series themed around hobby, which are going to be coming out probably towards the end of this year or start of next year. But be ready for that; it's going to be very interesting. And I think without further ado, we're going to bring in this new person. So I suppose drum roll, please. And we are going to reveal that our new member of the Red Path is none other than the wonderful Ryan Bell. Ryan, hello. How are you doing, my friends?
Hey guys, how are ya? Nice to be here. It's pretty awesome. So you
Yeah.
guys said some wonderful things and some lies too, for sure.
we'll let the viewers decide.
Well, yeah, we'll do that indeed. So many people may know Ryan from hanging out in the Discord, and this isn't the first time Ryan's been on the Red Path. We've had you here, in a couple of videos before, and I think it's fair to say that, in the discussion about expanding the channel, it was a very easy choice because Ryan really represents a lot of the core ethos of the Red Path. Like, play the game competitively, obviously being one, but the much more important one is the sportsmanship aspect of it. And having seen Ryan on stream a couple of times now, I think it's very fair to say that you play the game to the best possible level of integrity. So it is really wonderful to have you here because while you do play the game very honestly and very fairly, you also play the game very well. So it's great to have that all here. How are you feeling about joining the Red Path?
I'm feeling amazing, man. It's really cool. You guys are actually some of the first YouTube videos that I ever watched for Warhammer. Back when I wanted to get into World Leaders, and then I didn't because there were what I deemed not enough models for me to start the army kind of thing. I didn't like there was the old Berserker kid, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this. And then my buddy sent me some Space Wolves for free, so I started there, and then kind of naturally weaved my way back to World Leaders once they got a codex, and found you guys immediately, joined the Discord, and have kind of been like chatting more and more since. So it's been so great, and it's really cool to join the team of like-minded people who enjoy the game the way that I enjoy it. Like you said, it's not just about the wins. I would happily go 0-5, 0-6, and then I had 5 or 6 great games where we were just rolling dice, talking about our toys. Like, it's nice to win. Everyone likes that, but at the same time, it's all about having fun, and that's what this hobby is. So.
Yeah, very well put. And obviously now, joined by the two newest members of the team. Unfortunately, Jamie and Jack were busy this evening, but um, how are you guys kind of like feeling? Like, I imagine the two of you together is going to be quite a good combination for videos, right? Because you guys bounce off each other quite a lot ordinarily anyway. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose we're probably going to be seeing a lot of content that features the two of you guys, right?
And I
Uh,
feel like additionally as well, like I'm like in the middle ground, geographically. I'm in Michigan, middle of Michigan. Jamie's down in middle Ohio, and now we have a Canadian up north in Toronto. All of us are actually reasonably close, where you'll be seeing probably some overlap coming here in the future. I mean, Toronto is
mhm.
definitely very much so in my like tournament range. Like it's 4 hours. It's in range for me to go to.
It's where you
So
go
I
for
think it's
golden tickets, right?
yeah, it's where I go for golden tickets up north. But yeah,
Beef.
I think there's going to be a little bit of overlap here, and it's actually really exciting to have more members that like in the area that I can interact with on a not regular basis, but still have a possibility for it.
Yeah, awesome. And I think it's fair to say, I mean, this like humble brag, but also not that humble. Like with Ryan coming on, we now pretty much have a conglomeration of quite literally the best world leader players in the world in terms of competitive play. The best players who've put on amazing displays of sportsmanship as well, that we've seen on streams, and a lot of good hobby content coming up as well in the form of me making more videos, which Ryan coming on effectively frees up a lot of my time for production of videos like that. So it'll help to diversify the channel in terms of the content we're putting out, and we'll also increase the actual level of quality of those videos because I know that we all like my views on non and how, my tournaments tend to go, but let's be real, guys. If you're looking for like real competitive insight, you're not watching the videos that I'm making because they don't make a whole bunch of sense. But the plays that Ryan and Ryan pull off on stream on the regular and the content that they can produce relating to competitive will actually help you be better at the game, which I think is a pretty fundamental part of the whole thing. But I think we'll get to know Ryan a little bit better, so that you folks watching can also see this new person who's joining the channel. So Ryan, like, why don't you tell us about like why do you love World Leaders, like what got you into it, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so as I alluded to before, my buddy essentially begged me to play Warhammer. I had almost no interest. I liked Total War Warhammer, and he was like, "Dude, you'd love this game." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." Like he's like, "Here, look at the factions," and I was like, "World Leaders immediately." And then I was like, "Oh, but there's no models." And then he's like, "Well," and I'm like, "Well, Space Wolves are super cool. I love wolves." So I guess I'll do that. And then so he gave me a bunch of Thunderwolf cavalry, and it snowballed unbelievably fast. I now have like 15 to 20,000 points of wolves that haven't seen play in 2 years because the codex came out of World Leaders, and I was like, nope. They're done now. It's over. I haven't played a single other faction since that codex, ninth World Leaders codex dropped, and it's just been such a blast. It's my perfect play style. They're super cool, really, really fun. And yeah, I expanded a giant group of friends very quickly, to get like now I play Warhammer with my old crew, and now I have a whole new group of almost hundreds of new people and that I interact with. You go to tournaments, you see them all. Like it's such a great social outing to go to tournaments. Like I love seeing all the people and all the friends and oh how are you gonna do, and then you got a little trash talk or your hugs or whatever. Like it's so much fun that like it's not just about like I said the winning or whatever. Like it's the hobby in itself is a great positive outlet for my energy, my social cues, I guess, and I just ain't stopping. So I'm gonna keep on keeping on, and might as well do it. With you guys who I respect so much.
And I think that's like one thing that really puts us apart from a lot of other, like you'd see competitive channels or just hobby channels is every single one of us, including Ryan, we love world leaders like ride or die. If we're the worst army in the game, we're gonna find the best way to make it not the worst
Yep.
army in the game, right? Like that's just gonna be what happens. There's no hopping for us. We're on the
Start of 10th
bandwagon.
edition, anyone? Start of 10th edition?
Yeah, we rode that wave. Yeah.
But yeah, I we all love the hobby in all aspects, and I can truly say that Ryan is part of that. Like embodies that as well. We even got him to start reading some of the books, right? Like, didn't you just finished The Betrayer, right?
Yeah, you forced me to. Part of
And you
my
hated every second of it, didn't you?
part of the contractual agreement to join Red Path was to listen to one lore book, and I had to provide proof of purchase. And so I listened to Betrayer, and it was super awesome. And
it's a
now
it's a
I'm like,
good one.
oh, now look what
We
you've
got more.
done.
We got
Now
more.
look what you've done.
Yeah, you can see games in the Discord channel for the prescribed reading list. But yeah, it's
Perfect.
extensive.
I'll hit him up.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I mean, look, just to echo what Brian said, obviously it's I think what you stand for and what you represent is what made it such an easy choice to bring you on because I've had nothing but like good conversation with you, since you're kind of hovering around in Red Path, and yeah, it's just when it comes to expanding, we obviously there's a certain element that cares about like people who do well at events or people who like represent the hobby very well, but the main thing is really just finding someone to gel with the existing team and the ethos for the Red Path. And I mean, you do perfectly. So in terms of like what you want to do on the Red Path, like what should people expect to see from you in terms of like the content that is going to be coming
Um,
out?
well, number one, whatever my boss tells me to, right, Dara? So, but no, it's
No, don't set up that
obviously
dynamic. He's not
competitive.
your boss. Don't
We
You're
set
not
that
report to
my
up.
new
Brian,
dad.
and Brian reports to
Uh,
me, and then I report to Jamie, and I get in trouble.
Oh, perfect, perfect. So obviously competitive content. I love making lists. I love figuring out solving problems. I love optimizing my lists. That's a massive part of the hobby for me. It's just like the ingenuity and the creativeness. Unfortunately, obviously maybe this is content for another video, but like we are limited in that right now, and so I've been sticking with a very similar archetype for a very long time, because it's just what works. But we can talk about how to deal with different things in meta, different factions that you might come across. New Blood Angels came out. Everyone's horrified. Someone just got 2 games into them at an event, and maybe it's not so bad. So, um,
You got to pay for one
like
of those though.
you do have to pay to watch one of those on stream. The other one is on Tabletop Live. I will actually put. I'll send Dara the links, and maybe he'll attach them to the video. Um, we actually got. I just got the rest of the 45 minutes for the other stream game versus Francois, so I can link that down there too. So
Yeah,
you
that'd
can
be
watch
good.
one game in 2 parts.
I would
Um,
love to see that one. That one was definitely a
The
head
last
tilter.
45 minutes are arguably the most important to watch as well.
yeah.
So,
That was one of those
So
like
that
you look and look, do a double take, and like what?
yeah, we'll
yeah
get
this
there.
that
We'll
was
get there in a
that was the
different video.
wild one of the wildest games.
And can
Crazy.
confirm, Ryan does write good lists. I've stolen a lot of his ideas. A lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it says a lot when Ryan's list is what took me off Nongron for this current season. So, you know,
I had a little bit of help with that one though, right,
It
Dara?
that's true. I
it
was actually absolutely instrumental in the last 90 points.
100%.
I think one of the core things that we can attribute like growth like for us competitively to you before you came on board was definitely 8 bound spam. Not exalted 8 bound, just in general 8 bound themselves as in that unit. Most lists were running 1 unit. Then we were like, what if we added 2? And then Jamie and I snorted it up and just said, let's just run 3. And that has been a very big
Yeah,
contribution to my list. I will like be hard pressed to ever go down to 1, let alone 2. Two's hard. If I can get 3,
Never
that's
again.
like the sweet spot.
I
Yeah.
think for
So
me it was I think when I did my first video with Ryan, he was telling me that he deliberately had like 15 points left over in his list, which could have been Exalted 8 bound, but they were actually just regular because of 3 damage lacerators. And I was like, you know what? That's such a dramatic statement. Maybe I'll try that. And then I did, and I was like, oh yeah, this man actually is quite clever.
Uh,
So yeah,
they're
I
they're
guess
just like they're the perfect data sheet for us. Like it's like all across the board. I've never seen one data sheet line up so perfectly with the core rules of an army.
yeah.
From your scout to your wound rerolls to your 3 damage lacerators to your volume of attacks, and it's like, what? Why are we not doing this? Like, let's do more of this.
So
let's just do
we'll
Like,
see
more.
a lot of that
So
from you, right? Ryan, you're going to be putting out like these kind of, I suppose, I mean, we
yeah,
have
for sure.
competitive insights as a series. You will be the insight into the competitive scene, right?
At least my local Toronto meta. Who knows what we think of that, right? Right, Brian?
hey, no, I can speak for Ottawa. I can't speak for Toronto yet.
Oh, we'll get into the cauldron that I just survived,
Yeah, yeah, we'll be
but
doing that
that'll be for another time maybe.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was a horrifying pool. Like that's a room that would scare me.
for sure, for
Yeah, it
sure.
was fun. It was a blast. Such a
Awesome.
blast.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, one thing that I did was in our Patreon competitive channel, which you can get access to if you sub to be a 8 bound or Berserker competitive on our Patreon tier. Today, I told them that we were going to be getting a new member of the Red Path, and I told them I wasn't going to tell them who it was, but I told them just to ask me a bunch of questions so that we could get to know you
That's
a little bit
awesome.
better, Ryan. And they came out with some
Some
doozies. I had to filter a bunch of them out
some were not PG.
because yeah, some were not PG and some would get us demonetized. So we're not going to do that. So I'm going to run through them and we'll keep the answers quick and fast. But so the first one is what edition of Berserkers are your favorite models?
I like that.
The
Well,
current ones.
Yeah.
The
the Yeah, because you don't really have too much exposure to.
I don't like I said, I'm relatively new comparatively to
I'm gonna
some of
send
you
you some
guys.
pictures of some very old
But I don't
Berserkers
think
after
it'll
this.
my I don't think my answer will change based on those pictures.
I
I
don't know.
mean,
There's one. He's got a real nice like armorless leg. It's very suggestive. That one will always be my
Ooh,
favorite.
ooh, ooh.
So
uh,
then, okay, this is a really interesting one. I think you'll like this question. How would you make Heldrigs viable and interesting, other than just making them very cheap?
Rules changes. Ah, man, hilariously, I
I
was thinking in the Blood Angel meta, if you just dropped their points, I would take them as is. That thing would just eat stuff alive right now. But but yeah, in general, it just needs more volume. One D6 flamer and 6 attacks on a 200 point tank model is just not, that's not viable. Like an impulsor has like 20 shots at strength 4 or whatever it is. Like give it something to do. You can't rely on like 6 2 damage shots and make it cost 200 points. It's wild. So I would love to see more volume of attacks, or obviously just make it cheaper. And then I don't mind the mortal wound ability. Like those, that's nice to have. I honestly don't think that the rules are that bad. I just think it's wildly overcosted for the amount of attacks and the durability that it has.
Makes sense. I like
Ooh,
it.
let's see. Me next. Me next.
You want to do one? Okay.
Let's see. What is if you could have? I guess this is directed at Angron. If you could have Angron kill one Primarch in the setting, who would it be?
um, Magnus, screw that guy.
Hmm. Yeah. Someone's gonna go Doom
Competitively
Bolted too
and lore
much.
wise, as also a Space Wolf player, that just like lines up really
Yeah,
nicely.
there's some bias in there.
Yeah, I can see that. All
No,
right.
no, 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 no. Dirty sorcerer, stupid wolf hating idiot, and he obviously does lots wrong all the time, and competitively unkillable. Stop. Go away. Die.
I think I know the answer to the next one that I'm going to ask you. But I
Okay.
think the people will need to know. If you could design your own unit for the World Eaters, what would it be? And with one
Ooh.
special rule.
Oh no,
Um,
I,
design my own unit.
I've heard
Oh
this one a
man,
bunch from you.
I think it's got to be the one that you guys know that it is. It's the jump pack destroyers with rad or Promethean weapons to like short range shooting. That would be so much fun. Get me some burn for the kill main burn. Like, come on. Like, I
Oh,
don't mind. I don't think shooting is bad for world eaters. Like, we shouldn't. We're not a not shooting faction.
Oh,
We are a
careful now.
space marine
Careful now.
faction.
Jason's probably watching.
Um,
well, I was expecting you to say something 8-bound related, so I actually am
No,
inclined to agree with you here.
I
So
would love to have some like jump pack destroyers, and maybe that's your fault because you made me listen to Betrayer, and those guys are just rocking around with jump packs. I was like, what? I want that.
they're like
So
little
yeah, that's
hornets
probably where
flying
I'd
through the
go.
air. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. It's one of
they
my
just
top three ones in for units
chainsword,
as well.
chainsword, strength four
I
hand
don't know.
flamer.
I feel
That's
like it
all.
would be a little OP to have jump pack chainswords and flamers. That's
Yeah.
probably not fair. Just make us have some jump pack flamer dudes, go obliterate something on an objective, and trade that out. That way we don't have to deal with like, oh, you got a combat trick that we can't deal with. We're screwed now. Sorry.
I mean,
Awesome.
they could get like the Votan treatment and have like a weirdly deadly knife. Just
Yeah.
something.
True. You want to do a question, Brian?
Yeah. What is your favorite way to relax after a tournament? Was actually a good question here that I saw. Tournaments can
Super
be
cheese ball
stressful.
here. Super cheese ball here. Come home and take the kid off my wife, who has been a goddess all weekend, letting me play my war dolls, and taking care of our 10-month-old, and just hanging out with my baby and watching her playing with her toys and stuff like that. It's so just I love being a new dad, and so it's super awesome to do. And you just don't think about Warhammer and hang out until you open your Discord again and see that you have 900 messages.
So wholesome.
Yep, cheesy,
I
cheesy.
just like to lie on the couch and cry because I've gone like 2-2. And I know it means I can't get good content out of it. You want to go again, Brian? I feel
Some
like
of these
you're.
oit you pinned, Dara, didn't even deserve. You sure you filtered these?
Well, I kind of pinned a bit too many, but yeah.
Hit me.
Yeah, we can go with some. We can go with some funny ones in there. All right, I'll give you one. I'll
Let's.
give you one. What's
Okay.
your perfect 40K video game idea, and why is it a Harlequin themed dancing mat game?
It's definitely not that. Um, I, man, I used to game hard and I don't really anymore. I own Space Marine 2 now and I've played like not enough of it. I want to play more. I just time is an issue. I actually really like Space Marine 2. I think that that's a really fun way to play the game. One of the things I most love about Space Marine 2 is that it takes you down to the micro level and makes like a single Tyranid warrior feel scary. Um, and like a single card effects. Like when you get to the battlefield, people put five Space Marines down. You're like chaff unit. Like imagine having five Space Marines in that game. They'd be
Yeah.
destroying everything. Like it makes the smaller things that you don't get to see on our large scale battles that we play on the tabletop feel much more powerful and potent and the lore wise like it should be. And I think that's a really cool aspect. So I would love to see Space Marine 2 with more factions and enemies to fight. Um, yeah, that's probably a good one.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
like it.
the
We should play
pro-
Space Marine together. Brian's had a great time playing with me so far, right, Brian?
he will bully you.
Yeah.
Um, I guess I got one. It's not on the list though, but I'll still ask it. What detachment idea would you have, just for like a detachment rule, just like broadly? What would be a new
Detachment
detachment you'd
rule
be
or
looking
a
for?
detachment?
You don't have to go
I
too
think
deep into like strats and stuff. Just like, what's a cool idea of a detachment you'd
I
like?
literally wrote out two of them. I won't go into the detail of them, but they're the ones that everyone expects to happen is Disciples of the Red Angel and Fire Riders. Both of those sound so fun on different levels. Fire Riders for the different movement abilities. I would love to see like a +1 advance and charge in that detachment, or like a fallback and charge. Like give them something very like weirdly non-world leaders that makes sense for the Fire Riders and how they function. Like apparently a lot of like other world leaders have some disdain for the way that Avocado runs his stuff as more hit and run. Give us some of like it's like very almost antithesis world leaders, but still like movement based, combat based, but not uppy downy. Get rid of that jank. Stop that nonsense.
See,
Um,
I'd like to see a reactive charge strat. It's like you
I
move
that's
within
I
nine, I
literally
roll dice.
I literally wrote that. That's one of the strats
Yeah, I
in one
remember.
of
I knew
my
I'd heard
Fire
that
Riders
before.
thing.
Yeah, I remember reading your like Fire Rider wish list, and I was like, God, this stuff is like crack. This is really good.
It's so fun.
I like it
Um,
though. I've
yeah.
got a good one here actually. So, out of the other members of the Red Path, whose skull do you want the most?
I think it's gotta be Brian because he's better than me.
I think I knew you'd
So
pick Brian. It's like he's too close as
um,
well, you know.
I'm gonna
yeah,
I'm gonna cause a scene and somebody's getting red carded at WCW.
we'll fight. But no, yeah, I would love to play Brian. I'm quite positive that he's better than me, and I'm fine with that. But that's it's such a fun. It would be such a fun game. Like I've obviously watched some of his streams as well, and so it's like that's the kind of player that I love to play. Is like really competitive, and where like it's a mental battle of wills, if you will, but also there's no contention. There's no like, oh well, look, that was point 0.1 millimeters out. Like you get like or like someone's aggressively clocking you or weird stuff. Like just we would have a great game and it would be competitive as well. So I would love to play that game. And then obviously if I win, I would literally never let him live it down. And I think Dara would never let him live it down. I think
That's
that's
probably
I
more
more
mean,
important.
it
accurate.
would be way
That's more
easier than that. I
accurate.
would simply remove Brian from the channel, block him on all social media, and then that would be that. Now, if you lost Ryan, you don't need to worry
Don't
about
do
that.
that. Don't do that.
It's
We
over.
I'm
love Brian. We love Brian.
free. Yeah, no, when Jamie
Um,
and I played, it was basically like if you were a table over, you thought there was a bar fight going on the whole time, but
it makes
jestfully
sense.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes
Jestfully
sense.
so. We have a lot of fun when we play.
Yeah. I will give you one more. Rin asked so many questions, but they're all actually quite good. And I
They
really
are.
like this one, this last one. What is something that gives you drive and hope in your heart when you want to play games, hobby, or do anything else like that?
Something that gives drive or hope in my heart when I want to do play games. I'm not sure if I'm getting to the like the root of what they meant when they asked the question. But like I really love the positivity of of an event or hobby. So when you go to especially when you walk in to an event for the first time. Everyone's 0-0. Everyone's so excited to go. They spent like an unreasonable amount of money to go there. Like we all know that event tickets are pretty expensive. And as a former TO, the tickets are valid. Like those are expensive. The TOs have put on such an amazing performance or like product for us. You got table signs. You go into an event, everyone's buzzing. Like that's so cool. And so like once you experience that a couple times, it's addictive. Like it's like
Yeah,
you're like,
you
oh
want to
man,
get
there's
back
another
to
one
it,
coming up.
right?
There's another one coming up. I'm really like this is gonna be so much fun, and it has nothing to do with the outcome of the games. Like, don't care. Like as like I do care about winning. Like let's not kid, but like I would go to an event knowing I'd lose every game and have fun. Like they're just such a fun atmosphere. So it gives me a lot of hope when you go to positive events like that. Like when you know that a vibe is going to be great, it's really hard not to be hopeful leading up to that.
Nice. I like that a lot. It's very good. You got any more, Brian?
I mean, I think I know what you're gonna say for this one, but it's what is your favorite melee profile? Any data sheet, any character, any unit. What is your favorite? The one that you just it feels nice every time to roll,
I literally just like
regardless of context. Like
meme.
that could
I
be like
literally just meme bit my lips thinking about Angron's strike profile. So I think that's gotta be it.
oh, but
Like,
context matters. Like when I roll the Mauler Chainblade on the one Jackal with the big sword and he rolls two sixes, I pop off every time. I'm like,
Yeah,
let's go, buddy.
yeah.
Let's go. And,
yeah,
like could
yeah.
be anything.
Yeah.
Man, Angron is a drug that I can't quit. Like that like whenever he gets to charge, and you're just like, what should I roll? 19 or 9 that just obliterate whatever. Like, oh,
Yeah,
it's that's unreason. It's so fun. Like,
Yeah.
just
yeah. Not to spoil anything, but your stream game where you charged the Death Company, the Jump Death Company with Angron, and you're like, "What's my favorite way to kill you right now?
oh, like I'm just
You're
like,
not coming out of this in one piece.
Yeah.
like so good.
How many
Oh, he's so
pieces will you
good.
be in? That's what it is."
Yeah. Someone
Yeah.
wanted to know non-Gron versus Ron, which do you prefer? But I mean, I think anyone who knows you, but at this point,
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
last statement.
Angron.
yeah,
Angron.
yeah, it makes
And
a lot of
Um,
sense.
just to
it,
validate Ryan here for a second, because I do know this, in ninth, I believe you were still an Angron enjoyer despite Invocatus being
mm-mm. I was
you
I
were
was I was a dirty sweat lord. Yep. I was
oh,
a
I
fan.
was about to
I
have
was
faith. Okay,
um
I was true to the Red Angel.
I was not. I was a dirty sweat lord. Um but yeah, I like to like I said, optimization is like one of my like I like to figure out the puzzle, and obviously at that point there was really no competitive contest between the two because you
No.
only had got to have one as your warlord, and Avocado's warlord trait was like the here's you can make your normal move, and 8 bound moved like a
It was
million.
ridiculous. It wasn't like 50,
It was
no, it was like it was a lot.
I think it was 10. I think it was 10 inches.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think they like
Sorry, excuse
scouted
me.
9 or 10, and then they just
Yeah, like it was like they just moved 10 inches up the board, and you're just like, I guess that's what happens.
They were arguably faster. Think about it
oh, I
that
think
way.
Arguably, for
they
sure.
just were faster.
Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
awesome.
anyway, yeah, unfortunately, but I think that like I remember complaining a lot, maybe even in the Red Path Discord, about how you couldn't run both, and how they like locked our centerpiece badass model off the highest tables, and I was like, that seems like a stupid rule, and it's one of my favorite changes to 10th is getting rid of any restriction of any model on the board for the most part.
Yeah.
I think there's still a couple like you can't have like Farsight has like a rule where you can't have ethereals in his army or something stupid. But like for the most part, let people do their thing, man. Like we don't like the part of the one of the original tenets of the hobby was to create your own lore with your own army and like tell that story, and that's still a big part of it with Crusade and stuff like that. Just let that stuff happen. Like if a combination is busted, you fix that with points and rule changes. You don't fix that with you can't have this. When you so I think yeah.
Love it.
Long that's a long answer, but
It was a good one though.
yeah.
Alrighty. I think that's the most of the questions, at least the ones that have passed my filter test anyway, which is basically just making sure that anything that Krieg says gets put in the bin. But but I think we've been talking for a while, and people have a better idea of who you are, Ryan, and what you're going to be bringing to the channel, and I suppose a general update on the channel because we haven't done one in a little while. But um, Obviously, this is very, very exciting. We're upping the level of quality and the content that we're going to be bringing to everyone on both aspects. Ryan coming on actually means that there's going to be a lot more hobby content. So for those of you who've been really thirsty for that, it's coming real soon. I'm making some big changes, and yeah, just be on the lookout for that. It's going to be end of this year, start of next year, big new hobby thing coming. But for now, Brian, is there anything you want to say before we start closing it out? Or
Oh no, I
obviously
just
I,
Ryan as
I'm
well.
just, I'm really excited for the future now that we're bringing Ryan on board too. I know I've been talking about it a lot. I'm really excited for the World Championships coming up here. Ryan also does have a golden ticket as well, so he'll actually be joining me there. We've done a lot of like joint planning and stuff, figuring stuff out. I'm sure we'll be hanging out a bunch, probably
yeah, for
grabbing a
sure.
few dinners and
And we will be
just
doing
trying to survive Atlanta.
we will be doing a sort of a fundraiser event on the channel for the boys going to WCW in the build up to it. So what we might do is even pit Ryan and Brian against each other with their WCW lists and see who will actually claim that skull. But more on that coming soon. And obviously, if you do like what we're doing and you want to show us any support, Patreon link is down below. Gets you access to the competitive channel or the hobby channel. And inside there, you will be able to talk to these two wonderful gentlemen about your lists. And you can talk to me or Jamie or Jack as well. Your mileage may vary depending on which of us you ask. However, for now, that will be the end of this update to the Red Path. It is very, very exciting. Ryan, you want to say anything before we finish this one off?
Uh, Man, just thanks guys for having me. This is super awesome, super exciting. It's really cool to be to continue to involve my, I guess, my participation in the hobby. Obviously, I went from some nobody learning the hobby to helping grow a local scene here in GTA with a GTA 40K organization that's now for 1,000 people, and it's so great. And now getting my face plastered on the internet by some Irish guy. Pretty cool. Like it's very been a short time frame to get here, and yeah, it's I'm very grateful. So it's looking forward to adding more positivity and more content and more fun to TRP. Not that you guys need it at all. So
It's a welcome addition. And yeah, bring that vibe forward. I think people will be very happy about what we're putting out. So for now, folks, that is all from us here on the Red Path. Welcome, Ryan. Thank you, Brian. And I've been Dara. Stay tuned because later on this week, we're going to have Ryan recapping the recent GT that he went to and did very well at. So keep an eye out for that one. It's going to be real interesting.
Yeah,
And we got a lot of other good stuff coming out as well. Brian, you want to say something?
I was just gonna say, importantly, he interacted with Blood Angels not once, but twice.
Mm-hmm.
time.
Not gonna spoil anything, but he
Interesting
probably
interaction.
has some things to say about that matchup. So,
A little bit. A
All
little bit.
right. Thanks everyone for watching. Let us know down below how you're feeling about this update to the Red Path. And until the next one, you stay healthy, stay safe, and kill, maim, burn.